right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you all to follow Tenbound on all socials to stay up to date. You'll also be notified when the recordings for all of these sessions will be available. We'll have those probably the next week or so. We'd love for you to engage during this session by introducing yourself in the chat, adding any questions or comments that you may have. There's also a Q&A if you have a specific question that you would like Joe and Abby to answer either throughout the session or at the end. And with all that said, I am so excited to introduce this session led by Joe Lee and Abby Solnet from People AI as they talk about the ultimate dynamic duo, 3 ways ops and sales development can drive alignment to unlock revenue. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Amanda. Hello, everyone. It's really great to be here today. Just again, by means of introduction, my name is Joe Lee. I'm the VP of Growth Marketing here at People AI. Part of my responsibilities is leading the sales development team. For those of you who don't know, People AI is a smart data platform that powers the best-in-class account and opportunity management. In other words, we help automate all your sales activity capture and provide you the tools you need to increase your sales productivity. When I started about a year ago, I was tasked of rebuilding our entire SDR org from the ground up. This is when I met my partner in crime, Abby, who has been instrumental in that rebuild, and we're really looking forward to sharing a little bit of what we learned in that process. Abby, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. As Joe was saying, my name is Abby Solnet, and I'm a field operations manager here at People AI. And so we were on this journey together for the last year, and not only was Joe tasked with building this SDR team from the ground up, really everything that came in terms of process and operational procedure for the SDR team was broken and also needed to be built from the grounds up. We're talking lead routing, lead queues, reporting, SLA management, using outreach and other tools in our tech stack. And so we've come a long way since then, and we're really excited to share our journey with you all today.
Awesome. So as we kick the session off, I want to start off with a question, and it kind of comes right out of our title. Who do you think is the ultimate dynamic duo? And in this case, we're talking about 2 people who are paired together with unique traits that when combined usually result in success. Abby, who's your favorite dynamic duo?
Yeah, this past year, staying home a lot, I've played a lot of Nintendo Switch. So the first people who came to mind for me were Mario and Luigi. Pretty classic dynamic duo right there.
Yes, that's right. For me, what always comes to mind for me is Batman and Robin. I'm not gonna lie, I think the Dark Knight Rises version is way cooler, but I just laugh when I see this old school version. And as this relates to our topic today, one of the things we really want to be able to show you, especially if you're an SDR, an SD leader, is that sales ops can really become the Robin to your Batman.
But I know as an operator, we can often feel in sales ops more like the Joker in the dynamic duo. And Batman and the Joker is also a dynamic duo, just like Mario and Bowser could be. And I know sometimes it feels like sales ops are just about the rules of engagement and meeting SLAs and quotas and limiting your access to tools and saying no all the time. And genuinely, we want to feel like the Robin to your Batman, not the Joker.
Seems like we lost the presentation and something is beeping.
Oh no!
What that is about. Let me try again.
That's all right. We'll get it sorted out.
Are we back?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, it's funny you bring that up, Abby. I remember at a previous company, I was on the sales floor, and a senior AE and a sales operator was in a screaming match. The AE was literally screaming, "Don't you care about our success? Do I need to file a effing ticket every time I need something from you?" He did not say effing, by the way. And as deadpan as ever, the operator said, "Yes, that is the process." And Abby, I'm really glad we don't have this kind of dynamic. First of all, you look a lot less scary than the Joker.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's hop into the content. We're going to talk about 3 ways sales development and sales ops can unlock revenue. And all of these ideas, as I said earlier, have been things that Abby and I have been working together. Some we've literally just launched, and so we're going to share some ideas on what you could do, as well as some initial results from some of these changes. So first and foremost, 3 ways to unlock revenue. First and foremost, you can optimize lead conversion. And I know in the sales world, the moment we start talking about leads, I always think about this classic movie that a lot of you have probably never seen, but I'm sure your sales executives quote regularly, called Glengarry Glen Ross. And there's this classic scene where the sales enablement guy comes to the local office and he's just bashing on the reps on the floor. And the reps say, but the leads are weak. And the sales enablement guy says, the leads aren't weak, you're weak. And as a marketer, I'm all too familiar with this dynamic of AEs complaining about crappy MQLs and marketers complaining that no one is following up with their work. And of course, you, the poor SDR, are often stuck in the middle of this tension. So what does it mean? Like, let me ask you something. What are your leads actually weak? Because there's an interesting thing we could dig into here. And how do you start answering this question? Well, first, how many of you are responsible for responding to inbound leads or MQLs? Do you know what the conversion rate of your MQLs to opportunities is? Meaning, of the number of MQLs you receive, what percentage of them actually convert into opportunities? Is that good? Is that bad? So this was one of the first questions that Abby and I started to answer as we started to really rebuild, our SDR team. And so we went out and we looked for a lot of benchmark data. I put some research up from Forrester that says, if you have about a 32% conversion rate from MQL to SQL or opportunity, you're looking good. Topo has some other benchmarks I've seen that puts this at around 25%, which means, if you're at about the 25 to 35% mark of converting the MQLs you receive into opportunities, you're probably in good company. Anyone want to guess where People AI was a year ago? I'm embarrassed to read this out, so I'll just let you look at the screen. We were at 1%. That means for every MQL, 100 MQLs marketing was sending to sales, we were literally seeing 1 turn into an opportunity at a 33% win rate, which is ideal, not necessarily historical. We would have to bring in 300 leads to win 1 deal. And so for Abby and I, this was one of the first things we set off to fix.
Yeah, so we started on this journey last year, understanding the problems that were causing this low conversion rate. And so there's a few reasons on why your leads might not be converting. The first one is quality. Like, sometimes they are poor quality and low quality leads. This was an issue we had. We would qualify every lead under the sun, and it was too broad, and the leads weren't worth following up on from the team.
Sometimes it's marketing's fault, I will admit.
The second is poor scoring of leads. I know oftentimes the SDRs can't tell which leads are most valuable and which one they should prioritize and where to spend their time. The third is inaccurate lead routing. And sometimes SDRs can waste their time researching and reassigning leads that they shouldn't work. And this is something we had to address ourselves in terms of understanding who is responsible for following up with leads and what to do there. And then fourth is inconsistent follow-up and making sure that SDRs had completed enough touches. And sometimes if there's too few touches, it won't, turn into an opportunity. So understanding these reasons, we created and implemented new lead routing definitions, new MQL definitions to address these issues. And more importantly, I, as the sales ops person, set up a weekly meeting with our BDR team to hear from them what's working, what's not working, what issues are they uncovering. And it really helped establish a day-to-day working relationship with our BDR team throughout this process. And now I know you might be thinking, like, my sales ops partner wants nothing to do with me. They won't talk to me. So let me give you a few tips on how to talk with operators. Here are some of the do's and don'ts. Do give your feedback and highlight problems you're encountering. Don't just ignore them and sweep them under the rug. We can't fix things if we don't know they're broken. And so when you bring up these problems or issues, be sure to be specific and clear when you're asking questions or bringing these issues up. Don't just say it's broken without examples that can be used to investigate. That's a big pet peeve of mine, is when people just say it's broken And I'm like, what is it? What are examples you've seen? Help me help you in terms of troubleshooting and finding the root cause. The third that comes to mind is being open-minded and suggesting ideas on how we can solve problems together. Don't just be set in your ways and say, I need this and this is the solution when bringing up a problem. One of my favorite parts of my job is being able to creatively solve problems together and collaborate with the sales and SDR team. And finally, do be patient. These improvements take time to not only prioritize, but also to execute and make change. Joe and I have been on a year-long journey together, and the thing he didn't do is expect me to drop everything and make magic happen overnight. So it's definitely a partnership that if you come with insights and feedback and be specific, you can work on solving these problems together.
You know, Abby, I think this is so key. I mean, I've sat through so many talks on how demand gen and sales can work better together, but I actually don't think we talk about this enough. That you know, your operator is not sitting there actively trying to make your life harder. In fact, what gives Abby joy is really diagnosing a problem and coming up with creative solutions, probably solutions you will never have come up with to actually make your life easier. And so really establishing a good relationship with your operator, whether that's field ops, sales ops, marketing ops, rev ops, whoever it is in your organization, and learning how to communicate to actually solve the problems as opposed to just complaining to them, you know, is so key, whether you're an SDR manager or AE sales leader. And love these tips, Abby.
Yeah, definitely. And the good news is our hard work paid off. So in less than a year, you'll see the major improvements we made to our conversion rates. We went from that dismal 1% to just finishing Q2 at the 31% benchmark we were striving for. So the hard work paid off. And not only did our conversion rates improve, it actually translated into inbound pipeline that the marketing and SDR teams were generating. So you could see the number of opportunities that were sourced from inbound channels dramatically increased quarter over quarter as well.
This meant our reps got paid.
Yes.
So now that we've talked about the inbound side of the house, it was really time to tackle the outbound side of your house, out of the house. How many of you are responsible for outbounding, cold calling, outreach sequences? We all know, and if no one's ever told you this is one of the hardest jobs in any company. And if that's you, I salute you and I commend you. But let me ask you something. When you're 3 weeks into the month, doesn't matter how hard you've been working or whatever, and it's not looking like you're gonna hit your number, what's one of the first things your managers ask you? How are your dials? Let's be real. Can your manager be any more annoying? Sometimes it seems like all they care about is how many dials you've made. And I say this half jokingly, and if my team is watching this, you know that we're watching your dials like a hawk. Dials are important. And if you're not doing it, you better pick up the phone after this talk. But the problem is just working harder, but working the wrong leads or accounts will still get you no results. You have to be able to work harder and smarter. And this is what we're talking about when we say prioritizing outreach. So what are the 3 most typical ways SDRs prioritize their outreach? I think first and foremost, especially if you're a smaller team with not a lot of enablement and all that, it's just random. You go by gut feel, you go by the news article that you saw on LinkedIn, you go by, oh, I like Apple, let me start there. And the reality is, we all know random is probably not the most strategic way to go about doing your outreach. So I think where most of us settle is here, AE directed. You partner with your AE and you just follow what they say. If they say, hey, I'm focusing on these 2 accounts this week, these are the 2 accounts you focus on. If they say, hey, I need you to get a meeting with one of these 10 people, these are the 10 people you focus on. And I don't think this is a bad way. You should absolutely, I mean, we could do a whole talk around partnering with your AE. So you should absolutely be partnering with your AE, listening to them and focusing on the things that they're focusing on. But for Abby and I, we're a data company. And we believe actually it's fundamentally about data. And so I wanna let Abby show you a little bit of what we've built here at People AI to help our reps prioritize.
Yeah, so like Joe was saying, we're a data company and we want the best in class data to help our reps and our SDRs prioritize their accounts and which ones to do outreach into. So what we did was combine account intent data from 6sense, which shows which accounts are interested in People AI or in our industry. And we paired that with sales engagement from People AI, which shows us which accounts are having high intent, but they aren't being worked by the sales team. So this, for us, surfaced accounts that the BDR team could go outbound into and start to get some traction, knowing that these accounts are interested in what we do, but they haven't been worked by the sales team yet.
Again, we could do a whole talk, and actually Abby and I have done roadshows presenting what we've built here, and if you're interested, we'd love to talk more. But I know that a lot of you might not have access to hundreds of thousands of dollar budgets to champion a solution like this. So let me show you kind of the hacky way that we started to do this up front. We introduced the concept of warm leads, and we talked about uncovering warm leads. Now, a hot lead is what we all want, the good old hand raiser demo requests, the ones that are going to be converting to opportunities 30, 40, 50% of the time. And a cold lead is probably what you pull from Sales Navigator when your AE tells you to outbound into an account. A warm lead is somewhere in between. They might not be the hard hand raiser, but they're familiar with your company and ideally have done something to show some interest in your solution. So, Abby and I went to try to figure out how do we uncover warm leads for our BDR team to reach out to. Well, the classic way is lead scoring. This is a process of assigning different values to different activities, aggregating that score and saying, all right, when it hits an 80, we send it off to sales development. The problem with this is it takes considerable time and resources to actually set up well, to continually optimize, and to make sure it's working effectively. We didn't have actually the resources or the time, frankly, to do this. And so one thing we did was we started to look for what we called high intent engagements. A high intent engagement is downloading a specific ebook, attending a webinar, maybe checking out your pricing page and actually doing something on the pricing page that really indicates that this person is sales ready and interested in having a conversation. For us, the example I put up here, we had this ebook on our website called The Power of Managing with Leading Indicators. And this is all about coaching with data. But this feeds right into a product that we have that actually pulls up all the leading indicators in one dashboard so that a manager can proactively coach their team. So one of my hypotheses was if someone's downloading an ebook about coaching with leading indicators, well, they're probably super interested in our product that will help you do that in one view. And so we basically say, hey, anyone who downloads this ebook, it's a P2MQL. It's a warm lead. They're not quite a hand raiser, but you know something great about them. You know that they're interested in coaching and they're looking for solutions that our product could make. As we started to do this, and we're one thing I forgot to say earlier, we're an enterprise play. When I started, we were targeting about 400 to 500 target accounts. And so you can't expect to generate a ton of demo requests when you're targeting 400 accounts, right? But when we started to introduce the P2MQL, we were able to effectively grow our lead volume month over month, give our BDRs more at-bats so that they could actually go and prospect into these contacts and accounts a little bit more effectively. Ignore May and June. That was an experiment gone bad, but you can see the overall trend line is positive.
Yeah, and the beauty is as an SDR, you can actually surface these warm leads manually without any direct support from marketing. If you go yourself and identify a couple of high intent activities like ebooks that really fit whatever product you're selling, you can create a Salesforce report yourself that surfaces leads that have done these activities, and you can start your outbounding there. And the good news is if you're not sure how to pull that report, that's what sales ops we love to do and love to help with. So you can always use this as a way to build some rapport and reach out to your sales ops partner to help build that report. Or, better yet, I also love when reps can build their own reports or views themselves. And so what we'll get into for the third trick here is a tool that will help you do this more quickly and efficiently.
And that kind of leads us to the end of our talk. The number 3 way, reduce manual data entry. Now, let's face it. Manual data entry is the bane of our existence. It's probably the one thing that every marketer and salesperson can always agree with. If you can keep me out of manually entering data into Salesforce, I would be ecstatic. And believe it or not, your sales ops partner wants that as well. because they know that you manually entering data means less data and less accurate data.
And less time on the phones.
Yes. And there's a ton of solutions emerging on the market, especially in the last few years, that are trying to solve this problem through automatically capturing your calls, your emails, your meetings, and trying to match that with the right account or opportunity in Salesforce. Now, obviously, we're biased. We think People AI does it the best. If you want to learn more, check us out. But we also, as I said earlier, recognize that probably a lot of people in this room aren't quite in a place in their careers where they could go out and procure a tool like this. This is why I'm super excited to actually share with you a new product we've been working on. And not only have we been working on it, but we actually use extensively in-house, called PeopleGlass. PeopleGlass is a spreadsheet-like interface that sits on top of your Salesforce, and it allows quick updates that sync bidirectionally with Salesforce. And I know this sounds like a product pitch, and in full transparency it is, but I really believe tools like PeopleGlass could really be the key in bridging some of the manual data entry challenges that your BDR teams face. Since we've rolled it out to our BDRs, our SDRs, we've seen the time spent updating CRM decrease, and also the number of reporting requests to ops plummet, as we've now actually handed our reps and empowered them to easily create their own views and quickly update Salesforce.
Yeah, like Joe was saying, as an operator, I love PeopleGlass because SDRs can create their own reports and views to free up my own bandwidth. It makes data entry easier, so I don't have to hound people to update their contacts and opportunities. I don't have to be the bad cop always policing people. And it carries over all the Salesforce permissions, so I don't really have to worry about people going rogue and doing things they're not supposed to do. So there's a bunch of use cases we could talk about, but here's a few in particular that I think are really powerful and that you all could use. So the first, I know everyone has to work on their leads and contacts, and you have a list of people to call and email. And so you can quickly get an overview of all of your leads and contacts and go down the list, make your calls, update the status, update your notes in a Google Sheet-like fashion. So it's really simple and easy to do. The next, obviously, once you get a connect and someone's ready to take a meeting and start an opportunity, you can quickly and easily create an opportunity with a custom form that makes it really easy to create opportunities and pass those off to your sales reps. And finally, I know our BDRs love the use of private columns because it allows them to take notes right in the PeopleGlass sheet about, hey, talked with this prospect about this, or next step is that. It's something that only they could see, but at least they're all tracking it in one place versus a Google Sheet or a Word doc or a sticky note somewhere. It keeps it all in one place on the sheet as well.
One thing I love, we kind of actually showed one potential workflow that we're really trying to solve here. Just think about real quick what Abby just showed you. How many clicks would it take in Salesforce to pull a report of contacts and then out of that to drive prospecting, and then all of a sudden they have to create an opportunity record, and then now actually have to add notes to those contacts or those opportunities to track what you're doing. What probably takes a dozen clicks in Salesforce, we could literally limit down to 2 or 3 with what we're showing here. The beauty of this is completely customizable to whatever workflows you do. Every time I check in with our BDR team, there's a handful more use cases that they've come up with to use a product like this. Can't believe our time is almost up. Before I recap for you a little bit of what we discussed, feel free to start dropping in some questions in the Q&A in the chat. We'll love to spend some time at the end getting to those. But I want to ask you a question. What do you think was the result of all this work we did together? But again, starting about a year ago. Well, we just wrapped up Q2, and bringing us full circle, Q2 was a record-breaking quarter for us in terms of marketing and sales development generating pipeline. We actually generated 180% more pipeline in Q2 than we did in Q3. And this is adding, I think, 1 or 2 additional BDR heads in the process. This came from focusing on these 3 operational efficiencies: optimizing lead conversion in the inbound, using data to prioritize outreach in the outbound, and squashing things like manual data entry, long workflows, and tasks that pull us away from selling. But more importantly, for the BDRs that I lead, these efficiencies ultimately helped them gain more time, so that they can focus on selling and ultimately make more money. So I want to just close with this. What would you do with more time and money? Some might say you would buy the new Xbox. Others, go try a Michelin star restaurant. I know a lot of us would probably say, man, I just love to travel more. And so as a really special promotion that we want to offer our Tenbound friends, we've been we've been a customer and now a partner of Tenbound. We want to offer actually $1,000 or the potential to win $1,000 on us to travel. So a $1,000 Airbnb gift card. All you need to do is try PeopleGlass. Use this link. I know everyone's multitasking right now, so open up a tab, fill out this link, try.peopleglass.app, Tenbound, what is that? Dash
I'll put it in the
2021. Chat. You do this on your browser, click enter to win, fill in your Salesforce credentials, and now you'll have access to PeopleGlass. We're gonna give this a few days because we'll shoot an email to the Tenbound list and get some more entries. And at sometime next week, we'll select a winner and we'll announce the winner through email so that we're not lying. And you have a chance. Not only are you gonna save time by using PeopleGlass, but we'll pay for your next vacation. If you're already on PeopleGlass, we don't wanna leave you out because we love our Tenbound community. Email me with your work email address that you use to sign up for PeopleGlass, and we'll also enter you into the drawing. Also, if you want to learn more about PeopleGlass or PeopleAI's broader data automation suite, come talk to us at our virtual booth after this talk. I'll be in there as well as a few of our sales reps. So sign up and get a free vacation on us. So again, Abby and I would love to continue the conversation. Feel free to email us. Our emails are up, and let me. If there's any other questions, let us know. Okay. I don't think I see anything in the Q&A or the chat. So any last questions? Otherwise, I think Amanda, we could.
No, I think we're good. But hopefully, you get some people clicking on that link, and I would like $1,000. So I think that's totally worth a trial. Thank you guys so much, Joe and Abby. We really appreciate your time today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.